In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace your radiator on your Chevy El Camino. It's located in front of your engine. Using a pair of pliers, you're going to loosen your petcock and let the coolant drain out. Make sure you have a drain bucket below to catch the coolant. Now you can take your cap off, and that'll help the coolant come out quicker. So push in and turn. While you're waiting for that to drain, you can, if your lines look rusty, you can put some penetrating oil on them, and also on the hose clamps, and anywhere else that you need to unbolt. Fan shroud. I'm going to use a 10mm socket to take out these bolts for the fan shroud. Using an 8mm socket, we're going to loosen up this hose clamp. Now we can take the hose, twist it a little bit, and pull it off. Again, make sure you have a drip bucket below to catch any coolant that may fall. I'm going to slide this apart like that so I can take out my AC line. We can continue to take this fan shroud off while we're waiting for the coolant to drain. Using a 10mm socket again, I'm going to take out these bottom two bolts. That's free to go. And now we can help drain the coolant by taking off this lower radiator hose, or you can wait for it to continue to drain. Once your coolant is basically done, you can tighten that back up. And we'll take off this lower hose. I'm going to use an 8mm socket, and we're going to take off this lower hose clamp. Once you loosen up that hose clamp, you can twist this hose and pull it off. You might need a pry bar. Again, make sure your drain bucket's under there. Using some needle nose pliers, we're going to release this clamp and take off this hose that leads to the reservoir. To do that, you're going to twist it, free it up, and then pull it off. And push it off to the side. And now we're going to go for our training lines. Next thing you're going to do is take out your training lines. Ours are frozen. I'm going to have to cut them off. But if yours aren't, you're going to want to take these out of the radiator, and then we'll take the radiator out. Make sure you have a separate catch pan below for your transmission fluid. Don't mix the coolant with the transmission fluid. Now that you have your transmission lines disconnected, we're going to take out this little bolt. It's an 8mm socket. And then I'll just free up this AC line a little bit more so we can get this shroud forward and the radiator out. That gives it a little bit more play. I'm going to take out this bolt here, holding down this line. That'll give us a little bit more wiggle room if we can get that out of the way. I put a bungee cord here to hold my line back, and this one I pushed over here and down over by this bracket. Now I'm going to move my shroud up and over, and that should give us enough clearance to get this radiator out of here. I have a bungee cord here as well, holding this line. And now we're just going to, once you get it past this side of the fan shroud, we're going to pick it up. If you don't need these fittings, which we don't for this vehicle, you're going to take them out using a 19mm wrench. And you can just set them aside. Maybe save them for another project. Set it off to the side. Let's install the radiator. Just get your lines out of the way. Line up your radiator on the bottom with the rubber gaskets. This should be on the metal part that meets the plastic. Our vehicle's been in a little bit of an accident, so there's some things that are bent out of shape. So we're going to do the best we can with our situation. Yours should line up. And once you do that, we're going to put our training lines into the radiator. Line up your lines and thread the fittings in to the radiator. You're going to be needing a 1/2-inch wrench to tighten these up. Once they're started, you can use a wrench to tighten them. Go about 1/4 of a turn after snug. So there's my 1/4, nice and tight. I'm going to put our reservoir hose on. I'm going to use a pair of pliers and bring the hose clamp up like that. I'm going to turn my clamp to the side so it doesn't get interfered with the cap. We're going to put our shroud back. And that's going to hold the top of the radiator in place. There should be 5 bolts. Our shroud's a bit broken over here. Tighten these down with a 10mm. And our last bolt doesn't reach because of the accident this vehicle was in, but I'm going to put it in anyways. Holds that little bit right there. I'm going to release my bungees. I don't need those anymore. And you may need to put a sleeve for the hose if this is too small. That's what we did with ours. And that'll slide right on top. And then we're going to put 2 clamps to hold it there. Alright, make sure those are secure. And now let's move on to putting our AC lines back where they go. Let's line up our AC line with the bracket and insert our bolt. Make sure it's secure. And now we can put our line in this plastic hold down. Tighten that by squishing it down. Then we can unbungee our other line over here. And reattach it to on top of the alternator bracket. Make sure that's snug, and now we're going to go underneath and put our hose on and clamp. Let's put our lower hose on. I'm going to push it on. And tighten it up. Once you get your hose on, you're going to tighten the clamp. Make sure it's tight. And now we're going to put our 2 bolts in on the bottom shroud. Line up your bolts. And get them started by hand and then snug them up. one on this side as well. And do the same on the other side. Now let's clean up our coolant underneath and fill it up. Now we can add our coolant. Make sure you use whatever the manufacturer recommends. You can find that in your manual. You're going to fill it up till you have it about here. And then you're going to start the vehicle. You're going to let it run. It's going to get hot. Put the heat on. Once the thermostat opens, the coolant will go down like that. And then you're going to top it off after it's done being bled. As you can see, we're bleeding the air out of the system. Make sure you top off your transmission fluid if you lost a significant amount. Use whatever the manufacturer recommends. The thermostat has opened. We're going to just top it off. We had to finish the bleed process outside due to the old car fumes. I still see some air bubbles. Give it another minute. Our system is bled. I'm going to take out our funnel. And now we're going to put our cap on. We're going to make sure that these arrows line up with this vent tube. You're tight. You're going to make sure that you have some coolant in your reservoir as well. You can fill it to a little bit higher than the cold line.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.